Red warning lights pulsed through the control room of Station 7. Commander Velkan watched the monitors with rising dread. Something massive was moving through space near the outer edges of their domain. Something impossibly large. "Show me the readings." "Again," Velkan ordered. He was a tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms. His species had ruled this part of the galaxy for millennia. The junior officer at the scanner controls tapped nervously. "Sir, the energy levels are off the charts. Whatever's out there, it's bigger than anything we've ever built." Velkan felt his gut tighten. The Galactic Council held dominion over the stars. Their fleets were unmatched. Their science was peerless. No one defied them. No one dared. Yet the data told another story. Near the Terminus system, the very fabric of space twisted unnaturally. Lightning-like energy arced between the stars. Then slowly, something emerged. It was a vessel, colossal, beyond belief. It dwarfed even the largest Council warships. Its hull was blackened metal, scarred and burned. Strange white markings ran along its flanks in an unknown script. "Get me Admiral Zahai." "Now," Velkan whispered. Moments later, the Admiral's face appeared on screen. Older than Velkan, Zahai bore the marks of war. His yellow eyes were cold and sharp. "What is it, Commander?" "Sir, an unidentified ship has entered our region. Massive. Our systems can't classify it." Zahai leaned in. "Show me." The display shifted. The black ship loomed, unmoving, like a giant, at rest. No lights, no signals, just silence. Zahai stared. Then, gravely, "How many like this?" "Only one, sir, but the energy signature." Zahai read the numbers. His face went pale. "This one ship holds more power than our entire navy." Soon, other stations echoed the report. The strange ship swept space with scan beams. It examined stars, fleets, comms. But it never attacked. Never spoke. The Council world entered crisis mode. Representatives gathered in the Grand Hall. The Nexari, small gray traders, the Ethetherans, glowing jellyfish, the Corfac, armored behemoths. All asked the same question. "Where did it come from?" "No known race can construct such a ship," said High Kasula Nexus of the Nexari. "We've charted the whole galaxy." "Perhaps it's extragalactic," an Ethetheran chimed, voice musical and crystalline. Admiral Zahai stepped forward. "We must act. If they built one, they could have more. We should destroy it before it threatens us." "Wait," Nexus interrupted. "We should attempt contact. Their tech might be valuable." While the debate raged, the ship continued its silent study. It mapped star charts, decrypted comms, learned languages. Then it spoke. The transmission came in perfect galactic standard, fluent, precise. Every station and ship heard it. "This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the United Earth Ship Defiance. We are human beings from a distant sector. We seek peaceful passage to the galactic core. We mean no harm." The voice was calm, female, clear, but it struck the Council like thunder. "Humans?" Zahai echoed. "We have no record of them. Earth isn't listed anywhere." Panic rippled. Scientists dissected the message. How did these humans master their language so quickly? Military leaders argued, negotiate, or destroy. But all agreed. The ship was unlike anything ever seen. The Defiance hung in the void like a blade. Its weapons remained sealed, but they were visible. Giant cannons behind armored hatches, missile arrays the size of buildings, humming shield, cores. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on her bridge, gazing into the stars. She was small, brown-haired, eyes weary. Her blue uniform bore no medals. Behind her, her crew worked with quiet efficiency. They were all human, but different than the aliens might expect. Some bore cybernetic limbs, others had deep battle scars, all moved like hardened warriors. "Captain," said her first officer, a tall man named Commander Chun, "we're receiving multiple comm requests from the alien fleet." Elena nodded. "Let them wait. What did the scan say about their tech?" "Primitive. Very. Their ships are slow. Basic beam weapons, weak shields." Elena's expression dimmed. These aliens reminded her of early humanity, before war reshaped them. And their society? Standard imperial model. Council rule enforced through fear. Most species appear oppressed. Elena stepped toward the front viewport. Alien. Ships surrounded them now, hundreds and growing. They thought numbers would scare her, but Defiance had faced enemies that shattered entire star systems. Humanity had survived extinction more than once. "They outnumber us 1,000 to 1, Chun said quietly. Elena smiled coldly. "Then it's a fair fight." She turned. "Open a channel to their admiral. Let's talk." Zehai's face filled the screen. He tried to look confident, but fear flickered in his eyes. "I am Admiral Zehai of the Veltar Empire. You will surrender your ship immediately and comply with council law." Elena's voice was calm. "Admiral, as I said, we seek safe passage. We do not want conflict. You have violated our borders. Your vessel is a danger to galactic order. Surrender or be destroyed." Silence. Then Elena answered, quiet but unshakable. "Admiral, my ship has scanned yours for 6 hours. We know your weapons, your defenses, your drives. If you fire, we will respond. And if we respond, your fleet will be erased." Zehai turned crimson with fury. "You dare threaten the council?" "I'm not threatening," Elena said. "I'm explaining reality. Now, shall we talk? Or must we demonstrate?" The difference in technology. Around Defiance's bridge, her crew readied for engagement. Weapons charged in silence. Shields powered up to maximum. Fighter bays readied for launch. Yet Elena still hoped it wouldn't come to that. Not yet. These aliens had much to learn about what humanity had become and what was now coming for them all. Out in the void between the stars, something moved. Something old. Something that had followed humanity's path like a shadow. Something ravenous. The true war hadn't started yet, but it would. 3 days passed before Admiral Zehai agreed to meet with Captain Vasquez. In that time, more council vessels appeared until Defiance was surrounded on all sides. But the human warship remained still. Patient. Predatory. Captain Elena Vasquez dressed for the meeting in her modest quarters aboard Defiance. She wore her formal uniform and double-checked her equipment. Hidden inside her outfit were microscopic devices, recorders and signal relays feeding intel back to her crew. "Are you sure about this, Captain?" Commander Chun asked from the doorway, concern etched into his features. "Of course it's a trap, Chun," Elena smiled. "But they've no idea what kind of trap they're walking into." She headed for the shuttle bay, where a small transport waited. The human shuttle was sleek, fast, designed for precision, not intimidation. As it cut through the void toward the alien flagship, Elena studied their ships from her viewport. The Hegemony's Pride flagship loomed ahead, nearly matching Defiance in length, but bloated in width. Its hull gleamed white and gold, lined with ornate symbols of dominance and legacy. Hundreds of smaller escort ships flanked it like dutiful guardians protecting a throne. Elena's shuttle touched down in the alien docking bay. As she disembarked, a squad of guards moved in. The Veltar were imposing, tall, muscular, with blue skin and burning yellow eyes. Their armor was thick, their energy rifles deadly. "Follow us!" barked one of them. His voice was cold steel. Elena obeyed calmly, hands open and visible. But her mind was alert, her eyes scanning everything. She logged details: the hall, layout, guard weapons, armor weaknesses. The micro-devices in her uniform silently fed data back to Defiance. They led her into a chamber built to unsettle. Cavernous in size, its ceiling disappeared into dark heights. Council leaders sat on towering platforms above, looking down at her position on the floor. Blinding lights shone into Elena's eyes, keeping the aliens' faces obscured. The effect was deliberate. At the center sat Admiral Zahai, flanked by high-ranking members of the Council. To his left, High Counselor Nexus of the Nexari, a small gray being with massive black eyes. To his right hovered a luminous Athetherin, pulsing like a jellyfish spun from starlight. "Captain Vasquez," Zahai began, his voice echoing ominously through the vast chamber. "You now stand before the sovereign rulers of this galaxy. For millennia, we have brought order to these stars. Every world, every fleet, every being serves under our command." Elena stared back without flinching. "That's quite a legacy, Admiral," she said coolly. "But I'm not here to join your empire. I'm here for safe passage, nothing more." "Your people," Elena said. High Counselor Nexus leaned forward. "How many ships do you have? How many worlds are under your control?" Elena paused, as if choosing her words carefully. "Enough ships to protect ourselves. As for worlds," she hesitated. "We lost our worlds long ago." It was partially true. Earth was gone, along with every human colony. But she didn't tell them how or why. "You lost your worlds?" asked the Athetherin, voice airy like wind in a canyon. "To war, to plague, natural disaster?" "To something unimaginable," Elena answered softly. "Something that feeds on entire star systems." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. Admiral Zahai narrowed his eyes. "You speak in riddles, human. If you want our help, be honest with us." Slowly, Elena reached into her pocket, making sure the guards saw her movements, and pulled out a device no larger than her thumb. "This is a medical scanner," she said plainly. "High Counselor Nexus," she continued. "You've been battling a blood disease for many years. Your physicians can't cure it." Nexus recoiled. "How do you know that? Our medical data is private." "Our scanners are very capable," Elena replied. She placed the device on the table. "This scanner can cure your disease in minutes. It will regenerate your damaged cells and restore your health." She swept her gaze across the room. "Humans are good at fixing broken things. We've had a lot of practice." Admiral Zahai motioned to the guards. "It could be a trick, a weapon, poison." Elena shrugged. "Let Nexus try it on a volunteer, or he can continue dying slowly. His choice." Nexus stared at the device. After a long silence, he summoned his private physician, a Ziri medical specialist. The doctor examined the scanner with unfamiliar tools and cautious movements. "It appears authentic, far more advanced than anything we possess." "If it functions," Nexus said quietly, "try it." A guard stepped forward, missing a finger from an old injury. The doctor activated the scanner. A soft blue glow swept over the guard's hand. Gasps echoed through the chamber as, within minutes, the missing finger regrew. No scar, no sign of past damage. A perfect restoration. The room fell into stunned silence. "Impossible," Admiral Zahai murmured. Elena calmly picked up the scanner and handed it to Nexus. "Your turn, Counselor." Hands trembling, Nexus allowed the device to scan him. Blue light shimmered across his skin. Minutes passed. Then Nexus straightened in his seat, taller, stronger than he'd looked in years. His gray complexion glowed with a vitality he hadn't felt in decades. "The pain," he whispered. "It's gone. For the first time in 30 years. Elena tucked the scanner away. We have many tools like this. We can regrow limbs, cure incurable diseases, reverse deadly injuries. She looked each council member in the eye. And these are just our basic instruments. We possess far greater technologies. Zehai cleared his throat, regaining authority. What do you want for them? Safe passage, Elena repeated, and possibly trade. We're explorers and builders, not conquerors. Where exactly are you going? Asked the Athetheran. To the galactic core. There are things we need to study there. It was true, but not the whole truth. The core held ancient technologies that might help humanity survive the Devourers. She did not speak that name aloud. High Counselor Nexus leaned forward. Perhaps we can make an arrangement. Your medical devices alone are worth billions. We don't want money, Elena replied. We want knowledge, star charts, cultural data, historical archives. We want to understand your galaxy and your people. Zehai's eyes narrowed. Why our records? What are you really after? Elena held his gaze. Admiral, my people crossed unimaginable distances to be here. We've seen horrors you can't begin to comprehend. We've fought enemies that consume civilizations. All we want is a place to rest, to rebuild. She reached into her uniform again and pulled out a crystalline cube. This contains some of our star charts, places we've visited, anomalies we've witnessed. Consider it a gift. The Athetheran extended a luminous tentacle, touching the cube. Its body flared brightly as it absorbed the data. Incredible, it gasped. These charts depict galaxies millions of light years away. Stellar events we've never observed, energy signatures that defy explanation. Elena nodded. We've traveled far. We've learned much, but we're tired of running. We seek peace. Admiral Zehai stood, arms spread in imperial authority. We will consider your request, human, but understand, this galaxy belongs to the Council. If you remain, you must obey our laws. Elena looked up calmly. Of course, Admiral. We are peaceful. We only fight when given no choice. The negotiations continued for hours. Elena answered cautiously, enough to interest them, not enough to frighten them. She spoke of humanity's long journey, their innovations, their hope for diplomacy. But she left out the truths that mattered most. She did not speak of the war that cost them their worlds. She did not mention the Devourers, those who consumed stars and minds alike. She did not reveal that every soul aboard Defiance had survived 1,000 battles no one else could imagine. When the session ended, Elena returned to her shuttle. Flying back to Defiance, she reviewed her findings. The Council was vast, but complacent. They'd ruled too long without challenge. Their technology was mighty, but ancient. More importantly, Elna had planted doubt. Nexus now owed her his life. He would argue for alliance. The Athetheran, enchanted by humanity's knowledge, would demand further exchange. Other lesser factions had heard of miraculous healing, and they would not stay silent. The Council was beginning to fracture, exactly as Elena had hoped. Back aboard Defiance, Commander Chun met her at the shuttle bay. How'd it go, Captain? Elena smiled as she walked toward the bridge. Better than we hoped. They'll rip themselves apart debating us. While they bicker, we learn. We prepare. For what, Captain? Chun asked. Elena's smile faded as she gazed into the star field. The Devourers found our trail. They're coming. And when they get here, this galaxy is going to see what real war means. 2 weeks after that meeting, tensions inside the Council worsened. Some factions wanted to welcome humanity and study their tech. Others pushed for immediate annihilation of Defiance. The shouting escalated. Finally, Admiral Zehai proposed a trial by combat. If the humans were dangerous, he'd prove it. If they were weak, he'd crush them publicly. His message was clear. Captain Vasquez, the Council proposes a cultural exchange. Send your strongest warrior. We will send ours. Let them meet in battle, so we may learn your ways." Elena read the message aloud on Defiance's bridge. Commander Chun frowned. "A trap, Captain. They want to see how we fight." "Of course. They do," Elena replied. "The real question is, what do we want them to see?" She headed to the training deck where her crew ran tactical drills. These humans weren't ordinary. They were the survivors of Earth's last war. Veterans of extinction-level events. She found Sergeant Maria Santos sparring with 3 opponents. Small and fast, Santos moved like a storm. Her dark hair was tied back. Her arms were a patchwork of scar tissue and cybernetic muscle. Her eyes, cold steel. "Santos," Elena called. "Got a job for you." Santos floored her sparring partners in under 30 seconds and walked over, barely winded. "What kind of job, Captain?" "They want single combat. A test of strength. Their arena, their rules." Santos smiled, a thin, sharp expression. "Who's my opponent?" "Krexthol, Veltar's champion. Never lost. 3 meters tall, weighs 300 kilos. Generates bioelectric shocks through his body." "Sounds like fun," she said. "Rules." Elena handed over a data pad. "Traditional Veltar combat. No weapons, no armor. Fight until one side can't continue. They expect him to kill you quickly and send a message," Elena added. Santos read the data, absorbing every detail, anatomy, tactics, weaknesses. "Do you want me to win or lose?" "I want you to teach them," Elena said. "Show them what humanity is. But not everything we are." "Understood, Captain." The arena was housed aboard the Council's main station, a city-sized structure orbiting their capital planet. Thousands of aliens packed the stands. They expected to witness the crushing of a tiny human female. The arena was a flat, circular platform 50 meters wide. Energy shields surrounded it to contain the fight. Scanners ensured no one carried hidden weapons. Krexthol entered first to thunderous applause. A towering reptilian brute with scaled blue-black skin and yellow eyes. Muscles rippled across his frame. Electricity sparked from his claws. He had killed many here. Then Santos stepped onto the platform. Silence swept over the crowd. She looked fragile beside Krexthol, clad in simple gray gear, soft boots, no weapons. Her stance was relaxed. Her eyes scanned everything. In the royal box, above, Admiral Zahai raised his voice. "Begin!" Krexthol surged forward with shocking speed. His claws crackled with deadly voltage, enough to stop a heart. But Santos wasn't there. She'd sidestepped with inhuman speed. The audience missed it entirely. Krexthol's claws sliced air. He turned, but she was already behind him, observing. No attack, just watching. Enraged, he spun and hurled a massive fist. She was gone again, leaping over the strike. For 5 minutes, the cycle repeated. Krexthol roared and unleashed everything he had. Years of combat, brutal techniques. Santos didn't strike once. She moved, danced through his rage like a whisper, studied every motion. Crowd murmurs grew louder. How was the human predicting? His moves? How was she still standing? Finally, Krexthol paused, breathing hard. Sparks crawled across his skin. "Human aboard our ship carries similar augmentations. We're all veterans of the same war." Her words settled like a heavy stone. Defiance held 40,000 humans. If all were like Santos. "Impossible," Admiral Zahai muttered under his breath. Santos turned and bowed to Krexthol. "Thank you for an honorable fight. I hope we can be allies, not enemies." The massive warrior rose slowly, pride wounded, but respect shining in his eyes. "What war?" he asked. "What enemy could force an entire species to become this?" For a moment, sorrow clouded Santos's face. "Something that eats stars for energy," That turns worlds into weapons. Something that's hunted us across the galaxy for over 2 centuries. She turned to the stunned crowd. We didn't choose to become weapons. We chose to survive. There's a difference. As she left the arena, silence gripped the watchers. They'd expected spectacle, brutality, an easy win. Instead, they'd witnessed a truth that shattered their assumptions. They thought they understood war, evolution, sacrifice. In the royal box, council members whispered urgently. "She moved like lightning," said the Athetheran. "None of our champions could match that." "She adapted mid-battle," murmured a Nexari scientist. "It was as if she had real-time processors in her brain." "If every human is like this," Admiral Zahai said, voice tight, "then that ship isn't just a vessel. It's a mobile army of 40,000 post-war super soldiers." High Counselor Nexus, still grateful for his miraculous healing, cleared his throat. "Perhaps we should reconsider our approach. These humans might be valuable allies, especially if external threats emerge." "External threats?" Zahai snapped. "We've ruled this galaxy for millennia. Nothing exists beyond our control." But even as he spoke, long-range sensors on deep space outposts were triggering silent alarms. Unidentified energy distortions, motion in dead regions of space. Something vast was coming, something that left sterilized planets and collapsing stars behind it. The Devourers had found the trail again. Aboard Defiance, Sergeant Santos returned to the bridge. "How was it?" Captain Elena Vasquez asked, watching her approach. "They're afraid, Captain," Santos replied. "They see we're not just refugees. They sense we're something else. But they don't understand what forced us to become this." Elena nodded slowly. "Good. Let them fear. It'll make them listen when we finally tell them the truth." Her gaze swept across the alien fleet encircling them. So many ships, gleaming hulls, formations designed for dominance. But Elena saw the flaw. They were built to fight each other. Not for what was coming, not for the war that would burn stars from the sky. The first signs came from the outer rim. 3 colonies went silent. No final messages, no alarms. Council ships dispatched to investigate found nothing. Not ruins, not wreckage, nothing. As if those worlds had never existed at all. Admiral Zahai stood in the Council war chamber, eyes locked on star charts that no longer made sense. "How do you make an entire planet disappear?" he demanded. "We don't." "No, sir," answered the chief astronomer. A nearby Athetheran, normally radiant, glowed dim with dread. "Our records confirm the planets were there just last cycle. Now, blank space. No gravity wells, no matter. Just emptiness." The reports multiplied. Patrol ships vanished. Research labs stopped transmitting. Trade routes became silent. Voids. Panic grew behind closed doors. The Council's intelligence service worked relentlessly, hunting for answers. Suspicions turned toward the humans. Who else arrived just before the disappearances? But surveillance on Defiance showed nothing. Unusual. No launches, no movements. The human ship remained dormant, like a sleeping beast, until one breakthrough changed everything. Vex Tai, a Mesh Council cyber specialist, had spent weeks attempting to breach Defiance's systems. What he encountered was unlike anything the Council had ever seen. Security built like a labyrinth, layers of evolving encryption that shifted in real time, as if the ship's firewalls learned from intrusion attempts. Still, Vex Tai was persistent. He found a narrow seam in their defense grid, possibly left intentionally. He slid inside. He expected blueprints, weapon specs, strategic deployment plans. Instead, he found history, humanity's history. The archive stretched millennia, compressed. Within quantum matrices, holographic in form, impossible in scope. Entire epochs wrapped in single data pulses. Vex Tai began decoding. An hour later, he was sprinting through council halls, clutching his recorder. "Admiral!" he gasped, bursting into Zehai's chamber. "You need to see this now!" Zehai, skeptical at first, opened the files and watched as disbelief turned to cold horror. The story within contradicted everything they'd assumed. Humanity hadn't come seeking conquest. They weren't explorers or even survivors of local war. They were exiles, fugitives from their own galaxy. Running, the enemy they fled had a name, translated loosely from the human tongue as the Devourers. According to the records, the Devourers had first appeared roughly 200 years ago in the humans' home galaxy. No origin, no prelude, just emergence. They resembled vast biomechanical entities, each the size of moons, living vessels with organic cores and technological shells. But they were not ships, they were predators, and they fed on everything. Entire solar systems vanished in their wake, planets, satellites, stars, converted into mass and energy. They consumed mass like hunger without end. Humanity fought back. At first, with determination. Earth's fleet was formidable. They wielded AI command ships, stellar-grade weaponry, and planetary defenses spanning hundreds of systems. The war lasted 50 years and ended in complete defeat. Earth, gone. Mars, gone. The entire Sol system, consumed. Every human colony was destroyed, silenced, or abandoned. In the end, only a desperate, shattered evacuation force remained, millions scattered among broken ships. That was 150 years ago. Since then, humanity had been fleeing across galaxies, running from the unkillable. The Devourers followed, tireless, unstoppable, consuming each place where humans paused. And now, they had arrived here. The implications sank deep into Zehai's bones. The enemy wasn't the humans. It was what pursued them. And if even half of what the human records described was true, then the Council had never faced anything like this. The files showed footage, horrifying, real, unedited. Swarms of black living ships tearing apart orbital stations. Giant tendrils burrowing into stars, planets crumbling into dust under immense gravitational waves. Vex Tai trembled. "Sir, this is why the humans are so dangerous, not because of what they intend, but because of what follows them." Zehai sat down slowly, eyes fixed on the last image, a recording of Earth's destruction, seen from a fleeing vessel. The sun consumed in a flash of distortion, folding into nothingness as dark shapes circled the void. "Now we know what they're hiding," Zehai thought grimly, "and now we understand why they became what they are." Humanity had tried to settle somewhere new. Each time, the Devourers found them, and the chase resumed. But the centuries of flight had changed them. Every generation became stronger, faster, more adaptive. They developed evolving technologies, re-engineered their biology, and forged bodies that could endure environments no natural species could survive. They became living weapons, because only weapons could survive what hunted them. The Defiance wasn't just a warship. It was an ark. Within its databanks lived the genetic blueprint of every Earth species. It carried the sum of human culture, every poem, invention, philosophy, and mistake. And it carried weapons designed to kill gods. Every soul aboard had volunteered, not to flee, but to fight. Admiral Zehai absorbed the files with growing dread. Battles against enemies that devoured suns, weapons that cracked planets, shields that held against supernovae. Soldiers so deeply augmented that their original biology was a fading memory. Then he read about the Devourers' behavior. They always sent scout entities first, monstrous advance agents that searched for suitable systems. The scouts left behind subtle signals, invisible to most sensors. Those marks called the swarm. Once marked, a system's fate was sealed. According to the timeline in human files, scout incursions in this galaxy were expected within months. Admiral Zahai didn't hesitate. For the first time in galactic history, he called a full emergency council in person. Not one species sent proxies. Every major leader came. The war chamber pulsed with tension. Aliens of every physiology, caste, and culture crammed into a room meant for diplomacy, not survival. Admiral Zahai stepped forward. "What you are about to hear will seem impossible," he began, voice grim. "But we have verified the evidence." He told them everything. Humanity's exile, the truth about the Devourers, the patterns of colony disappearance, the energy anomalies that matched perfectly with the scouts described in the stolen files. The chamber erupted into chaos. "Lies!" roared a Corfac general. "Nothing can eat a planet!" "We would have detected them already," insisted a trembling Ziri scientist. "This is human propaganda, a fear campaign," barked a Veltar warlord. But then High Counselor Nexus stood. He owed his life to human medicine. "I have seen their technology repair the impossible," Nexus said slowly. "If they say this is coming, we cannot afford to doubt them." Zahai raised his hand and activated the holo display. A galactic map flickered into view. Red markers lit up. Each one a missing colony, vanished ship, or lost signal. "This is the outer rim," he said. "These disappearances form a pattern, and that pattern is exactly what human records call scout activity." A quiet fell. The Athatharian scientist floated closer to the map, its luminous tendrils quivering. "If the trajectory holds," it murmured, "the scouts will reach our central systems in less than 2 years. And when they do," Zahai said quietly, "the swarm will follow." No one spoke. The threat wasn't theoretical anymore. It was here. Finally, the Admiral continued. "Captain Vasquez has requested a new meeting. She brings a proposal." The Council agreed. They had little choice. Once more, the summit convened aboard the Council flagship, but this time Captain Elena Vasquez did not come alone. She brought Commander Chun and Sergeant Santos. Elena stepped into the same vast chamber, surrounded by the same alien leaders who had once greeted her with arrogance and suspicion. Now, their gazes held uncertainty and fear. She stood before the Council again, but this time the chamber felt different. No longer did they see a refugee begging for aid. They saw a commander who had faced the impossible and lived. "Counselors," Elena began, her voice calm, steady. "I assume by now you've learned the truth about my people." Admiral Zahai's expression was grim. "We know about the Devourers. We know what happened to your galaxy. The question is, what do you want from us?" Elena held up a small device and activated a holographic projection. Floating in the air were star charts showing Devourer scout, patterns, predicted routes, weapon blueprints, shield schematics, and tactical overlays. "We want to help you survive," she said. "We've fought them for 200 years. We know how they think. We know how they die." High Counselor Nexus studied the images. "And what are you asking for in return?" Elena's face turned cold. "A complete reorganization of your galactic society." A murmur spread through the chamber. "No more slavery," Elena continued. "No more species cleansed because they're weak. No more empires ruled by fear. The old order dies with the first scout that reaches your core." The room exploded in outrage. "Unacceptable!" Admiral Zahai shouted. "We will not hand over power to war-weary aliens on a single ship." Elena stood still, unmoved. She waited until the noise settled, then spoke with quiet steel. "Admiral, in 6 months, the first Devourer scouts will be inside your heart systems. In 18, the swarm will follow. When they arrive, your authority will mean as much as the screams of the billions who die." She pointed to the hologram again. "We have weapons that kill Devourers, shields that hold against star-consuming beams, strategies forged in blood. But we will only share this knowledge with equals, not tyrants." Nexus leaned forward. "What are you proposing?" "A new galactic government," Elena replied. One based on cooperation, not domination. Every species contributes what they can. Military decisions are made by those with actual combat experience. Resources are shared equitably. She turned to face Zahai directly. And humanity will command the joint military during this war, because we are the only ones who have fought them and lived. The Admiral's face darkened, his skin flushing purple. Never. The Veltar Empire does not bow. We do not serve inferiors. Elena's voice didn't waver. Then the Veltar Empire will die, and its children will become biomass for creatures that drink stars. She turned back to the council. You can cling to pride. You can go to war with the Devourers using the same fleets you used to suppress rebellions, or you can learn from the only species that has survived what's coming. An Athetherian drifted forward, glowing nervously. What guarantee do we have, it asked, that humanity will not conquer the galaxy once this threat is over? Elena's smile was soft and sorrowful, because that's what the old humanity would have done. But that species died with Earth. The ones who remain, we were forged by war, not power. Cooperation, not domination, Elena said again. She activated a second hologram, this one displaying the interior structure of the Defiance. Our ship carries the genetic templates of 10,000 species from our home galaxy. Not just Earth life, alien life, species we rescued during the evacuation. She paused to let that sink in. We could have abandoned them to make room for more of our own, but we didn't. We paid dearly to preserve life, even when it wasn't human. The council deliberated quickly, but not quickly enough. Roughly half the species agreed to Elena's terms. The Nexari, Athetherans, and dozens of smaller civilizations recognized the need for radical change. They accepted that survival required abandoning the old ways, but others did not. Led by Admiral Zahai and the Veltar Empire, the opposition called the humans liars and manipulators. They claimed the missing colonies were a false flag operation designed to scare the council into submission. They want control, Zahai told the Emergency War Council. But we will take their weapons by force. Once we have their technology, we'll deal with these so-called devourers ourselves and restore order to the galaxy. The Veltar fleet, along with the Corfax and other militant species, deployed 8,000 warships to encircle the Defiance. Their weapons powered up, their engines flared. Captain Vasquez watched it unfold from her bridge. She felt only sorrow. These aliens, she said quietly, are about to learn the same truth we did 2 centuries ago. Pride is meaningless when the sky falls. Captain, Commander Chun reported, Admiral Zahai is demanding surrender. 10 minutes to stand down and prepare for boarding. Elena stared at the tactical display. 1 ship versus 8,000. Before the war, that would have been suicide. But the Defiance was not built before the war. Open a channel, she said. Dozens of alien commanders appeared on screen. Admiral Zahai loomed largest. Elena Vasquez, he said. You are surrounded. There is no escape. Surrender now or be destroyed. Elena sighed. I've tried reason. I've tried diplomacy, but you still won't listen. She turned to her weapons officer. Mr. Torres, show them. The Defiance responded. Its hull shifted, reconfiguring as hidden weapon bays slid open. Energy signatures surged, massive, previously undetected, and then space itself changed. Fold space ruptures bloomed around the Defiance in precise formation. The Council fleet was surrounded, not by weapons, but by gateways. From each rupture emerged another human ship. The Defiance had never been alone. Humanity's Ark fleet, the last survivors of a dying galaxy, had been hiding in fold space all along. 300 vessels arrived in perfect formation, scarred, ancient, lethal, built to fight monsters the size of moons. Crewed by survivors of a 200-year war, the Council ships were no longer the attackers. They were surrounded. "Impossible," Zehai whispered. "We only detected one ship." Elena's voice was heard across every channel. "Your sensors are obsolete. Human tech is 2 centuries ahead of yours. We've been hiding in dimensions your scientists haven't discovered." The human fleet moved as one. No delays, no missteps. Their maneuvers were so exact it seemed mechanical, yet every ship was crewed by living beings. "You have 2 choices," Elena said. "Stand down and join us against—" Reality bent around human weapons. When they fired, council ships didn't just explode, they vanished. Some were erased from existence entirely. Others transformed mid-battle into inert matter or pure energy, absorbed back into human reactors. Hulls liquefied. Structures twisted into lifeless crystal. Admiral Zehai watched in helpless disbelief as his proud fleet, the same fleet that had once ruled the galaxy unopposed, was reduced to cosmic debris. Even Hegemony's pride, his flagship, was surrounded by 3 human vessels no larger than patrol shuttles. Then he heard her voice, inside his head. "Surrender," Elena said. "Your crew doesn't need to die for your pride." The transmission had bypassed every defense, entering his mind through means beyond comprehension. Zehai looked around the bridge. His crew, once unshakable, now stared at him with pleading eyes. They had followed him faithfully. Now they would die for his stubbornness. "All ships," he whispered. "Cease fire. We surrender." Weapons powered down. Engines idled. The silence was absolute. Human ships immediately repositioned, not to gloat, but to render aid. Medical drones were dispatched. Life support beams stabilized dying vessels. Then Elena's voice returned, broadcast across all frequencies. "You've seen what our weapons can do," she said. "But we didn't show you this to frighten you. We did it to save you." She activated long-range scans and pushed the data to every ship. Energy signatures, enormous ones, approached fast. "The Devourer scouts will be here in 3 hours. They travel faster than your ships. They hit harder than your weapons. If you had killed us, you would be facing them blind, broken, and alone." Zehai spoke again, but his voice had no power left. What are you?" Elena's answer was quiet. "We are what you could become, if you survive long enough. War either breaks you or remakes you. We chose the latter. But even as humans prepared to defend the system, the galaxy was already breaking. News of the Council fleet's defeat spread like fire. Every planet, every moon, every station heard the same story. 8,000 warships humbled in minutes by 300 humans, oppressed. Races across the stars rose in revolt. Slaves overthrew their masters. Worlds, long held in chains, declared independence overnight. Trade collapsed. Alliances shattered. Governments imploded. In less than a day, the old galactic order, thousands of years old, ceased to exist. High Counselor Nexus sent an urgent signal from his diplomatic vessel. "Captain Vasquez, our government is falling. There's chaos on every world. What do we do?" Elena responded not with panic, but with clarity. Her message went to every leader still listening. "You don't restore the old order," she said. "You build something better." She transmitted blueprints for a new galactic confederation. Representation for all species, shared resources based on need, not power laws to protect the weak, not enable the strong. The old galaxy was ruled by fear, Elena said. Fear only works until something stronger appears. The new galaxy must be ruled by cooperation. That's the only thing that can survive. Some species agreed immediately, others resisted, but resistance faded fast, because reality arrived, with teeth. The first Devourer scout appeared over an outer colony of 2 million. It resembled a moon, metallic, writhing, alive. It fed. Elena led a combined fleet to intercept it, humans and aliens side by side. They watched as their strongest weapons bounced harmlessly off the creature's skin. 50 battleships unleashed hell. It didn't even slow down. Then the human ships opened fire. They didn't use missiles or beams in the traditional sense. Their weapons targeted the creature's brain, tore at its energy matrix, and erased chunks of its body from existence. The Scout fought back, screaming across subspace in waves of madness and gravity. The battle lasted 6 brutal hours, but in the end, the beast died. The colony was saved, and everyone watching understood the truth. Without humanity, the galaxy had no hope. The next day, more scouts arrived, each one stranger than the last. Some devourers ate planets. Others drank starlight. A few consumed the souls of entire civilizations, leaving their bodies untouched. The war for survival had begun. And only one species had the knowledge to lead it: humanity. The galaxy would never be the same.